What is up, YouTube? It is Doc here, Docky Style Gaming, and I am back at it with another GodFall video for you all today. Now, in this video, we're going to be going over all of the current Valorplates that we know so far in GodFall, along with looking at the abilities of each of the Valorplates. Now, there's 5 Valorplates to go over in this video, and we actually got names for most of them so far. Thanks to the community manager on the official GodFall Reddit, we at least got the name for the big 3 that we always see in just about every trailer. So the lion, of course, is Silvermane. The eagle-like one that we had kept seeing is apparently Greyhawk, though they did say that the names are subject to change, but currently his name is Greyhawk. And then the female one that we've been seeing is Phoenix, or that's just the name of it as of right now. Now, there's 2 more that I want to go over in this video that I haven't seen some people cover, one of them in particular, but there's a dog-like Anubis Valorplate, and then there's also a bull Valorplate, or I guess Taurus if they're going with the Zodiac-inspired armor sets. Now, before I get some people in the comments section asking about the Rhino, I am going to cover the Rhino Valorplate at the very end of this video. So, you might be thinking there's 6, but again, there's 5 so far. Now, before I get into all the Valorplates and their abilities, I do want to say this is just going off of some of the things that we've seen in all of their trailers and what I've gathered so far. Now, some of these abilities may be universal, but for the most part, most of the things I saw were for those specific Valorplates. Now, by all means, let me know in the comment section if you think I missed any, because I might have, but there's also a difference between Valorplate abilities and weapon abilities. I will have a whole nother video on weapon abilities, so if there's some abilities that you think I might have missed in some of these trailers that we've gotten, it might be because I classify that as a weapon ability. But again, if you think I missed anything, let me know in the comment section, and I'll be sure to go back and I'll probably put it in another video. So, starting with the first Valorplate, let's go with the main poster boy himself, Silvermane. Now, Silvermane is our lion-based Valorplate that we have seen in just about every single GodFall trailer. Now, some of the abilities that we got to see from him vary in trailer to trailer, but all of them you definitely see in just about every single one of them. So the most important one to me that I put, I guess, first above some of the other ones that I took note of was his roar-like ability. Now, in one of the trailers, we get to see Silvermane roar, and it looks to be an AoE stun. When he does the ability, the boss in the background, or enemy type in the background, does briefly freeze for a moment. So this seems like it'll be a stun ability, which does make sense for a lion-based Valorplate. Now, these next 2 abilities we've seen in just about every trailer are his dash abilities. Now, he has 2 different variations of it, and one of them I want to say might be a universal ability. Now, his quick dash that we see where he just runs through enemies and slices them, I think that one might be universal to other Valorplates, but the one that is for sure, for him at least, or that we've always seen him use, is his golden dash. Now, we've seen this ability in multiple trailers where he covers a pretty wide area where he cuts through multiple enemies at a time. Now, his last ability that we've seen so far is his blade-like ability. Now, we've seen in the trailer he has this ability where he summons a bunch of blades and they spin around him, and while he fights, they also attack. Now, initially, I did think that those might be a weapon ability, but when we get into Greyhawk, I think it's probably his actual armor ability, and honestly might even be an ultimate for that character, because other characters have bladed abilities like that, which again, I'll cover later in this video. Now, moving on to Phoenix. Phoenix is actually the one that we have the least amount of footage of abilities, because pretty much every time we see Phoenix using any abilities or any attacks, it's nothing too special or flashy. Now, of course, in the original trailer, we do get to see her holding the Eclipse sword, which is a fire-like weapon, which goes with Phoenix, but also, considering she is a Phoenix Valorplate, I'd have to assume that her abilities would be fire-based. Now, in the leaked footage that we got to see, we did see that she had a bunch of glowing red attacks. Now, potentially, these are charged-based heavy attacks, or even heavy DPS attacks. Now, I'm sure just like most looter shooters, each Valorplate will have a different role to play in this game, whether it be DPS, tank, healer, and as mentioned in the PlayStation UK magazine, there will be augments that help heal the team as well. So from what we've got so far, or all that we've gathered for the most part for Phoenix, it might be our DPS type Valorplate, but again, we don't get to see her use just about any of her abilities. We just get to see a lot in that leaked gameplay of when she's about to use most of her attacks, she charges red, glows, and then strikes. So again, it might be a DPS based ability, but that's all we really have to go on for Phoenix as of right now. Now moving on to Greyhawk, who we surprisingly have a decent amount of footage for, or decent amount of clips of him using his abilities. Now previously I didn't think much of him because it didn't look like we got to see a lot of his abilities, but there was multiple trailers that I watched and multiple abilities that were used. Now his most noticeable one was his large air dash. Now there was one that they use in a bunch of their GIFs on Twitter, and then we got to see in the trailer where he covers a pretty wide range of area and then strikes an enemy. And with a hawk-like armor set, I'd assume the flying or soaring aspect of that character makes sense. Now, initially I thought it might be a shield bash, but the initial leap or lunge definitely seems to be tied mainly to Greyhawk. Now his next ability that we got to see was pretty similar, but it was a air dash using his weapons, or almost like a blade strike through the air. Now I think I might have seen, I might be wrong, but I might have seen Silvermane use an ability similar to this, but I think this one might as well be tied to Greyhawk in particular. And again, with these air-like or lunges abilities, it makes sense that for a bird-like Valorplate that these abilities would fit more towards this character. Now these next two abilities, or this next ability I should say, because it was actually split up into two different shots, but this next ability we got to see is pretty interesting because I don't think I've seen anybody really cover it, but it also kind of fits into the theme if you know, I guess, a bit of lore about electric birds. But one of his abilities is a electric based attack. We get to see him very briefly start to charge up and release a huge wave of energy or electricity as his Valorplate begins to float in the air. Then the second shot, if you look closely, and I'll be slowing it down of course, you get to see him shooting those electric bolt like blades almost that were similar to the blades that we got to see from Silvermane, which again let me assume that those blade like attacks aren't necessarily a weapon attack, but in fact a Valorplate attack. But once he uses those attacks, you do get to see a bunch of electricity coming off of that attack. So it's kind of interesting to see that his abilities are, I won't say 100% confirmed to be electric based, but I think it would be kind of fitting for an electric hawk or bird-like character for his element. Now, before I get into the next two that really haven't got much exposure so far, surprisingly, I do want to ask, because I'm curious, I know I have my personal picks, but in the comment section, let me know which type of animal, or I guess zodiac, you'd like to see become a Valorplate. Now, a couple of my personal suggestions, I feel like a dragon is a must. I mean, zodiac inspired, you kind of have to have a dragon. And then, of course, I think a scorpion would be pretty dope, and potentially a bear and a ram, because for a looter slasher, I just feel like those would be some great melee like Valorplates. But again, let me know in the comment section what you think your personal favorite or what should be put in the game in terms of animal like Valorplates. But moving on to the bull Valorplate. Now this one is one I am super surprised I really haven't seen anybody talk about. Now if somebody has, be sure to let me know and I'll give them credit in the comment section or something. I just haven't seen it anywhere. But in the original leaked footage for GodFall, we got to see the bull Valorplate in action more than once. In particular, at the very end of the trailer, we got to see him use a special wide area of spin attack across the entire field and do this slash and kind of kill the enemy. But then other shots in the trailer, you get to see him fighting with other Valorplates on the screen as well. So he's actually in there a couple of times, but you definitely get to see the best image of him at the very end of the trailer. You get to see both of the horns coming off of his head. So like I said, I found it kind of interesting that nobody really covered a bull-like Valorplate, which again, for a Zodiac inspired Valorplate, a Taurus definitely seems very fitting. But that's all we really have on that one. It's just a couple brief shots in that leaked gameplay footage. Now, what we have even less of, and potentially we might be getting some more of pretty soon, but we did get a leaked image of the Anubis or Jackal, dog, whatever you want to call it, like Valorplate holding the Eclipse. But as you can see, it does for sure have the same ears on the helmet and has the dog or jackal-like shoulder armor on its sides. Now, we got to see him a bit in the PS5 trailer, just the images pretty much of his head, but in this image it's very blurry, very low quality, which leads me to assume we might be getting something leaking out pretty soon. But from what we got so far, we get to see our best image as of right now look at this jackal-like or Anubis-like Valorplate. And now for the final Valorplate, or I'm not going to even consider it a Valorplate, but this is a Valorplate that I keep seeing a lot of people talk about. And even some of my older videos, people say, you forgot to mention the Rhino Valorplate. Now, when people talk about the Rhino Valorplate, they mean this right here. Now, personally, I don't think that's a Valorplate. That's clearly, in my opinion, especially after watching a lot of these trailers, an enemy type. Now, many people, like I said, have speculated that that's a Valorplate, but according to the lore, there are 12 Valorplates. And this just seems like a generic enemy that you fight throughout the game. Plus, of the key details that we've noticed from other Valorplates that we've seen so far, you can generally see the face of the animal on the design of the helmet and, for the most part, on their shoulders, which isn't the case for this enemy's armor. Like, yeah, he does have a horn on his head, but other than that, nothing really indicates that this is a Valorplate, and honestly, I don't truly believe it is. But if you do think it is one, let me know in the comment section and let me know why. But I honestly don't think this is a Valorplate or a Rhino Valorplate, as many have speculated. Though, I'm not gonna lie, I would have loved to see a Rhino Valorplate. I just don't think the one or the enemy that we've been seeing in the game is in fact that Rhino Valorplate. But so far, that is the 5 Valorplates that we've seen so far, meaning there's only 7 left to go. Now, I'm sure they're gonna be breaking it up a lot before the release of the game, and they probably will keep throwing a bit of teases in here and there, which they have been in a lot of the trailers. If you break down and slow down a lot of these trailers, you'll see a lot of stuff that pretty much, like I said, a lot of people just haven't been covering. So I think it was pretty interesting that for the most part, from the 4 or 5 trailers that we've got so far, we've at least got pretty good looks at 5 of the 12 Valorplates getting ready to release in the game, even before they've officially announced 2 of them. So again, like I said, let me know in the comment section what Valorplates or Zodiac inspired Valorplates you'd like to see in the game. Like I said, I gave you a few suggestions and I think mine are pretty, I guess, decent chance of them being in the game. I feel like a dragon is just a must though. You kind of have to have that. But let me know what yours would be in the comment section and we'll discuss it there. So with that, that's all I really got for this video. Thank you all for watching. Like always, I will catch you all in the next one. Links to all my social media accounts are in the video description. I'm out of here, guys. Thanks for the love. Thanks for the subs. Peace.